Welcome back to another Tony Too Tough video. Today is our Bushcraft Bucksaw. What we're going to be working with here, the goal is that you just bring this part right here into the woods, right? That's the part you need to bring from home. You need a little bit of Bankline, some cordage, right? And you need a nice knife, right? It's helpful if you have this. I promise you it really is. To craft one of these, this is what that's what's required. So let's kind of break this down. I put this together yesterday, right? So come to find out, this right here, this wood, interestingly enough, is Brazilian pear, and it's an invasive species, but I absolutely find it delectable for bushcrafting because it is a hardwood. It is it's easily debarked and it turns into a rock solid piece of wood. So let's go ahead and talk about what the components of this is. So obviously I have this portion, right? So this is the blade. And what is this, like 18 inches, 20 inches, something like that? I don't know. I haven't done the measurements. But the concept is you have two uprights, right? In the middle here, I did a variety. I did an option that you don't have to do, but this is the way I saw best. So I found two Y branches, right? Two Y branches. I found them the other day. I carved some flats on them and I lashed them together. And that was an adjustable way for me to get the right distance. Now, I had on my uprights, I had to carve into that. I don't know if you can see that very well, but you know, I did a carving around there. Now I had to whittle it around, right? I had to mess with it. But these kind of fit right in here in the notches. What's holding this together is I have it sawed at the end and the blade just slides right in there. And then I've got these little pegs on either side. I could have gone a little better with it, but that's pretty much so sufficient. It holds it together. Now, the deciding line on everything is this right here. It's the windlass, right? So this is under tension, right? So it's definitely under tension, right? So, and that's what holds this all together. So let's break this thing apart, all right? And we'll put it back together again. So let's go ahead and remove some of the tension in there. Boom. Now that that's been removed, I can break it apart, putting this aside, right? So you see what I've got here is just some number 36 Bankline, right? You could use paracord, you could use whatever you like. And then I got my crossbar. So here it is. On this end, I got the fork and I had to notch it out. Man, you had to carve it according to your set. Could I have done better on the flats? Of course I could have, but I think I did good on my lashings, reasonably well enough that it's going to hold it in place and it's going to do what it needs to be done. So this part was a project within itself, and getting these to be the right way is interesting, because right over here at the end, I mean, my cuts weren't perfect. I mean, they kind of, you could see on this end, they kind of went off to the left over here. But hey, you know what? Every time I make one of these, and this is like my third or fourth attempt, at one of these particular type of bucksaws, I believe they're called, whatever, but it's a collapsible bucksaw. So anyways, let's pop these out. All right, look at that. That just pops right out. There's the blade. There's the two pieces of wood, right? This is it right here. This is on either side. Boom. That goes there. This goes in the center. And then this is your windlass. And that's what holds it up underneath tension. And that's pretty much so it. So the tools I needed, I most definitely needed a good knife, right? Your preference, whatever you'd like to use, doesn't matter. And a folding saw just to make some even cuts here, right? So yeah, I see the irony of it taking a saw to make a saw, but you know, interestingly enough, you don't have to. It's just the convenience factor of it all. So you can make them. It doesn't have to look absolutely pretty. In fact, the one I made this yesterday, And this had these tailings that were all the way out to here, and it just looked like this big monstrosity. Had a couple of failure points. I just got to dial it in. You just have to dial this set in. So let's start back up with, let's put this in place. Let's go back, put this all back together again. There we go. This little Humpty Dumpty thing here. Let's see what we've got. Okay. All right, no problem. Let me just twist this up. I'll probably fast forward through this. We got to even this up a little bit. You got to fidget with it, man. You got to fidget with it. You got to get it just right. It's temperamental too, you know? It's unique because each one is unique. Like you make it, it's unique. You have to find your... There we go. See, it's still wobbly, right? So then tweak it, making sure that this is... Sometimes you have to flip things around. Maybe I didn't do it right, but hey, you know what? Let's test this thing out. I know it looks a little wobbly. Let's see if I can get one more wrap in it without... Yeah, that's pretty tight. All right. This part's the most important part. There we go. Oh, I see. There we go. I think I got it tightened in there now. I got it dialed in. All right, let's see. All right. So this is not the best plumber's vise here that I'm using, but let's see if we can get through this. That was kind of weak sauce. Well, I think we can prove its success, taking some ability to tweak this thing to make it work for you and how you want it done. But yeah, the concept is strong. I'll keep making these until I don't suck at them. And that's what I'll do. I may not post every video, but when I finally dial this puppy in, which, you know, it's on its way. You know, this is number 4, right? And actually 3 of these, because the 4th one, I just made a bow that went across from here to here. And that worked perfectly fine too. It was way easier. Just putting it out there. Doesn't give you much as far as a clearance for cutting, but it does work, and it was pretty simple. This is complicated, but I enjoy making it because it's a bushcraft thing. So here's Winston. He's got to come and say hi. Remember the deal? Mention Winston's name in the comments, and he gets a treat. He does. Do you want a treat from all the viewers? You want to say hi? You want to say hi to everybody? They're right there. Look, they're right. Okay. Well, anyways, I want to thank you all for stopping by. You don't have to go too far. Just go out in the woods, but go get your dirt on. Go on now. Now get.